So I'm finishing the dramatic match with Will Wong. Here's our kingdom. This one's interesting. This is once again going to be a shepherd-ish game. This game is interesting in that you only get to do basically one terminal. Famously, Patron gives you some extra tokens that you can use, some extra villagers. But I wouldn't, you sort of stockpile a couple extra ones. It's really nice because it means that you can, for example, count on playing Witch and then generally using the cards that you draw. So you're sort of a little bit more comfortable as long as you're sort of consistently banking up the villagers banking up the extra action that you get on a villager by playing a patron, but that's not very hard to do. The other interesting things in this board, spices are great. You can trash the curses that you get with Witch with Trading Post. Although that's not really, you don't get a lot of value from that, I guess. It's like anytime you play a Trading Post, it's because you didn't play a Witch. Interesting. I want to do a bonfire here. It makes it harder to expect to gain Witch sooner. I don't really think that if you play Shepherd and draw, I guess I'm sort of hoping to draw 3 cards with it. It still means that my deck doesn't have a lot of money in it. So I'm just not expecting to hit 4 very soon. Or hit 5, I mean, but I just feel good about a bonfire. It basically means that you don't really have the bad case for Shepherd as often. Oh, you're not interested in Shepherd at all. Okay, that makes sense. Patron Silver is also extremely reasonable, and it's going to suck a lot once anybody starts getting curses. This is slightly awkward. I'm just going to take a silver, though. I mean, basically, going into your third shuffle with a villager and a witch is just very nice. I'm vaguely doing the same thing, except technically it's my fourth shuffle, and the difference is really just that they have a patron and a villager, and I have a shepherd. But I sort of like the shepherd. I think we're going to pick up a spices here, assuming that I end up being able to afford it, which I feel like I will. Okay, so this is great. I mean, I have my pick of the litter here. I'm eyeballing Falconer, or Falconer, however you're supposed to say it. I like to say Falconer. I actually don't think that almost anybody thinks that it's supposed to be pronounced Falconer, especially because you don't say Falcon unless you're talking about Star Wars. But that's just a really awkward card. It relies on you. Yeah, Spices just seems better. Cool. I think I'm... Maybe I do a bonfire and a patron here. Or I could, yeah. So I'm going to have like a really nice next hand unless I don't draw my shepherd. I actually feel like I want a bonfire and another shepherd, because what's going to happen is I discard a bunch of victory cards in this next hand, and they end up in the next shuffle, and I'd like there to be a shepherd in the shuffle, I think. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so I'm kind of like past the point of a patron being good, because I'm kind of just hoping to play my witch every turn anyway, and I'm not going to stock up any extra stuff. The one thing is that I could get a falconer and start hoping to like trigger it just with other stuff. The second witch is actually pretty good. This one's awkward. I might just buy like another estate. Getting to the point where I like really want to be I'm doing that thing that you don't want to do, which is I'm counting on just drawing shepherd and estates together, and that gets really hard once you stack up curses. Although I'm like down 4 coppers but up 2 curses, which is kind of nice, but it's just going to be a kind of awkward deck for a while. Maybe I should be taking the patron instead. I'm going to take the estate. Okay. So I suspect that because they got that extra witch and I didn't have the nice shuffle, that I'm going to end up with 6 curses. I feel like my deck is better set up for trashing the curses, I think. I mean, well, I should say, the thing that makes me think that I'm going to end up with 6 curses is the fact that my opponent has 2 witches and is going to be able to play them in the near future. Darn. Maybe I just take a opportunistic bonfire here and then just like another estate. So once again, I'm sort of vaguely expecting, I'll probably draw my shepherd next turn. Maybe I buy yet another shepherd in an estate. Just doesn't feel right. I never spent any of my coffers. I sort of like this plan. Okay. Just sort of noticing that did I start recording? I did start recording. Good for me. I didn't unmute myself in the Discord voice chat. I don't think that there's anybody listening to me. Yeah, there isn't anybody listening to me live, which is fine. There's 2 other more interesting matches that are going on. I guess I shouldn't say interesting matches necessarily. Maybe everybody's a big Will Wong fan. Will Wong fan. But there's 2 people that are really good at commentating, which are VR Smith and Mick Kucinich. For the people that are watching this video, those are the 2 people that, mostly Mick Kucinich, who spelled M-I-C, spelled like this, M-I-C-Q-S-E-N-O-C-H. That person shows up on people's YouTube recommendations probably if you're in the Dominion community. Okay, so I just kind of drew Okay, so this section's gonna be nice. So I like. Oh, I drew 2 curses. That's actually pretty much perfect. I'm definitely short on money. I actually don't. I don't think that I have $5 in my deck. I have $5 in the form of. No, I like literally don't have $5. I think. What do I even have? I think this next hand is like, yeah. So I just need more money. I kind of did. Oh, I have my spices obviously, so I do totally have $5. But I sort of like the patron now. I think. Ugh, maybe I don't. There's like almost nothing interesting I can get here. Maybe it should just be a shepherd. Yeah. They're really stocking up those. So they have 3. They got 3 spices. So yeah, so they're just not really expecting to trash their curses. Oh, I don't like that shepherd really. Well, yeah, I kind of don't know. It's hard to say what is a good card for my opponent's deck right now. Okay, so this is nice. I'm actually going to awkwardly just discard 1 estate because I don't want to trigger this shuffle that's going to happen, which is literally going to be exclusively victory cards. And if I discard both of my estates, then I'm going to draw a total of 6 cards this turn because I'm not going to skip playing the witch. That's just too important. Maybe I just take 2 estates here. I mean, I'm just like really going all in on drawing cards, but not actually having a whole lot of stuff. I'm actually going to take a patron, assuming that I'm not going to bother playing the witch this next turn. Yeah, because it just doesn't really accomplish that much. Oh, that spending of the villager was interesting. Could have been reasonable. Yeah, so now my plan is just going to be to, at some point, pick up a trading post whenever I have the money for it, and then start trashing the curses. I think I got a little lucky with how the shepherds lined up. But mostly I think I got a little lucky that my opponent didn't play witches as fast as they could have. I felt like, I mean, they went first and they picked up a witch at around the same time, but I played the first one, even though I just have like a lot of deck movement because of the early shepherd stuff I was doing. It just felt like they were playing something that should have. Yeah, so here I'm just like, as I said, I'm just not going to bother to play the witch, I think. Is that made up? I mean, if I'm not going to bother to play the witch, then why the hell am I getting patron, or why am I getting villagers? I know there's just not. I don't see myself being able to afford more than like an estate here. There isn't really much that I want more than I want an estate. So I'm just gonna take an estate. Like I could have drawn this like shepherd and not really done a lot with it. I don't think I had any victory cards in my hand. Okay, I did have a victory card. So I'm feeling pretty good about this game so far. I think we did end up both giving each other 5 curses. That just seems like what ended up happening. We've also both trashed. Okay, so they're taking that trading post. It's interesting. So I'm going to do this. Could work out kind of awkwardly, but yeah, I'm also going to take that trading post. There isn't anything that seems better. play the witch first for basically no reason. Okay. Going to take this estate. So piles are gonna, I mean, there's gonna be 2 piles that are empty. I don't really see anything in particular piling out. Like, I'm not planning on gaining 4 shepherds or 5 shepherds anytime soon. My opponent seems to have like a little bit more control over. I mean, they just have a lot more buying power right now because they have the their deck is very similar to mine, except that they just have a bunch of extra spices. Although the extra spices and okay, so now they have like almost the same. We have like almost the same deck. They have 3 extra spices and an extra witch that I just don't have, and they also have an extra villager. I'm about to have like a probably nicer turn though. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this. So I'm going to do that thing that I was mentioning earlier, which is that when you have the extra villager, you get to take some liberties with playing cards in a nicer order. So in that case, I got to okay. I got to play the witch before doing another shepherd, and it didn't matter because I knew that I was going to spend 2 actions that turn anyway. So I'm now slightly ahead in victory points. I think it's going to be making use of the new spices or coffers errata, and by new I mean I think it happened like around this time last year or something. I remember it's something that VR Smith said, that it mostly matters that you can spend your coffers if you're only going to spend one of them, because if you spend both of them, it's sort of like you just bought a silver instead of a spices, but it has a plus buy. Anyway, I think I'm going to do spices and shepherd, because there isn't anything else that lets me use my money in a nice way. I think that it's going to be hard for that to come back and bite me as far as like lowering shepherds, because I have the victory points advantage, and you kind of can't sneak up on 3 shepherds, I think, and also gain a duchy is basically the only way to win. This is an awkward hand. I mean, it's not really awkward. It just means that I end up trashing a card, or I trash 2 curses and I don't do anything more useful. I mean, basically the only really scary thing is if my opponent pops off with shepherd stuff and gets like exactly the right draws. I think that they could. I mean, they could. Okay, that was good. This is sort of like this hand that I'm holding is just like a funny, like kind of unlucky that I quote unquote dudded, but also kind of lucky that I'm literally just doing exactly what I would want to do with the turn anyway, which is that the primary goal of trashing 2 curses. That extra wish that they have, I was kind of thinking of it as like burdensome, but I mean they've never run out of villagers. So if they take a duchy here, or maybe a fleet would be better. It's actually, this is like funny where you would expect to be able to at least buy a duchy on your fleet turn, which means that you usually end up wanting to do a fleet. Okay, so now I'm behind in victory points and in the same situation, which is scary, but I don't see my opponent having like an absurdly good draw this turn, because they just have the 1 witch and the shepherd. And so, I mean, the scary thing is if there's nothing for me to buy here. I'm not going to spend it. I'd rather have a villager or coffers than a silver or tent, so there's nothing to do. Okay. Alright, that was the only thing I was really scared of is if they would like magically draw a lot of cards with a shepherd, which was of course very possible, but didn't happen. It would have been unlikely. Okay. Sort of feel like I have the better deck still. Just because they're going to enter this next shuffle with less Curses Trashed. Ooh, this sucks a little bit. I think that... Anyway, as I was saying, Fleet is like kind of worth more than 3 victory points. And you almost always just buy Fleet instead of Duchy in that case, if you think that you can buy a Duchy later on using Fleet. But in this case, Duchy is like a nice piece for this deck. So because it's a green card that you can discard with Shepherd. So I'm gonna quote unquote build by taking the Duchy instead of harming my deck, which is what you would generally expect to be doing. Oh, crap. Right, so they might have like a really, really good turn. Unless they didn't draw a Shepherd. I think they have 3 Shepherds. Maybe they just have 2 Shepherds. Because there's... Oh, no. I think that they have 3. I think they have 3 and I have 4. So I'm actually thinking Fleet might turn out to be, like, bad. Only so long as... Yeah, this is a case where I'm not going to bother playing the Trading Post. And I might actually just, like, hold the Villager. Because I'm not going to be able to play anything that I draw with Witch, and a lot of my deck is victory cards and stuff. Yeah, I'm just going to buy the Province. So I've trashed 1 extra curse, where instead they trashed a silver. And I actually think that trashing silvers is kind of fine in this deck, especially because they just have, basically, they have an extra 1 by virtue of the extra spices. So now we have, like, very similar decks. It's funny how that works out. This is a great draw, I think. I think that they have to be holding a Shepherd here, and it's kind of awkward to play it. Because then it won't appear in their next shuffle. And so they'll have, like... If they were to play a Shepherd in that thing, they would just end up with a shuffle with a lot of victory cards and just the 1 Shepherd, which would be really bad. If I do the same thing, I'm going to have a shuffle with a lot of victory cards and 2 Shepherds, and I'm also going to draw 6 cards here, which we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, so here's where I'll play a Witch first. Like, I'm just, like... using that Villager from earlier. I'm going to trash yet another curse and buy yet another Province and feel pretty good, I think. I could buy a Duchy and get this game closer to a close, but I also think that I'm better in the long game. Like, I just kind of have the better deck right now. So there's no reason for me to want to do that. On the other hand, I'll happily buy a Duchy with this turn. I think. Like, Fleet is such an awkward gamble. It's just like... I think that this game is going to end on Duchy's piling, which means that... which means that you're counting on being able to afford 8 on that fleet turn, and that's not a good gamble, I think. Wonder how this next turn is going to be. Depending on how much my opponent scores, if they don't buy a duchy this turn, I'm gonna think about taking a shepherd. Okay. Reason being is that I'm gonna have another one of those shuffles next turn where there's not a lot of bishop is interesting. I think I don't like the bishop. I mean, it's going to be nice for them to trash the witches, but and it's sort of like they're just like basically behind here. Maybe I just take the duchy anyway. Basically, my thinking is I can take a shepherd. If I don't take a shepherd, I'm going to kind of risk having a bad next shuffle, because it's going to be one of those things where it's 2 shepherds left, but a lot of victory cards. Maybe it's actually 1 shepherd. I'm not sure. No, I have 2 shepherds that are going to be in my next hand. I know. I like a duchy. Duchy just... Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, duchy's a lot safer. So, assuming that this game is coming to a close, and I'm feeling like it's going to be me that wins, they sort of have to think long and hard about what they're going to buy here. Spices is awkward as well. I think I was actually looking at Fleet for them. Fleet. But they don't have a lot of good choices, and I'm also going to pop off a little bit here, I think. Yeah, I mean, I get my pick of the litter for what I draw here, or what I gain. I think I can just get 3 shepherds, right? Patron. It's in hand, it looks like. Okay. We'll just like play the witch. I could have like trashed 2 estates and gotten an extra silver in order to afford it. I just really want to make sure that I can actually do this. 6 plus 6 equals 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay. Okay. I'm going to quickly get up and come back. I think that game was a good case study in generally the cases where okay. Really hope I get 3-4. Woo! Awesome. Sorry. Boy. This is a game where Groom is so important, it's unreal. Cathedral is also so important, it's unreal. The thing that counterbalances Cathedral here is that I'm going to gain a raise regardless. I'm actually worried about ever being able to afford a groom if I don't buy it right now, so I kind of have to do that. They might think that that Cathedral isn't the right choice. I guess I'm like sort of hoping that the fact that they didn't know that I have 5-2 is going to psych them out into thinking that I as a good player, think that Cathedral isn't the right choice here. Because I think that I don't know exactly how much experience my opponent has, but newer players are often very scared of Cathedral because... Okay, I failed to do that. Basically, I'm trying to hit 4 as soon as possible, or I'm trying to hit 3 as soon as possible. I suspect that they're going to be able to do Cathedral Groom, and that's going to be really good. Maybe the fact that I got to be first player is going to offset that a little bit. I think I want to gain the second Groom. Do I skip Cathedral just because I'm about to get 2 raises? I mean, it just depends on whether I get like $4 here, if it's just worth picking up another engine piece, but I kind of doubt it. Cathedral's just going to be so good. There's never going to be... Like, I could trash a ton of cards and still be... So I'm gonna take a second Groom. I'm gonna gain a raise. But just having, I mean, opening 3-4 is so good. It's so good just because, yeah, it just has to be Cathedral. There's no way. Herald is going to be really great in this board, I think. And just having an absurd amount of excess trashing. I mean, yeah, I haven't even trashed 3 cards yet. I haven't even trashed 2 cards yet. And just having an absurd amount of trashing helps Herald a lot. Even though this is like a tricky looking board, or it's going to be like really fast, there isn't a lot of room for confusion. I think I wouldn't take a silver, but that's not an easy judgment. So the things that I'm hoping my opponent might get stuck on are taking a curse too early, even though that really doesn't hurt you that much, because it's going to get trashed by the dang turn 1 Cathedral that they got. And just sort of messing around with other cards too much. But basically all the cards are good as long as you eventually like make sure to get some bridges. I'm pretty sure that I don't want a silver. Like, just another raise sounds good. With the thinking basically just that it's something that Herald can find. I was making this comment a while ago about last game. Do I have any? Oh, I suddenly have a bunch of spectators. I guess one of those... Oh, a bunch of people are now listening to me. Okay, I don't know when that happened. So I'm just going to make a comment about the last game because I'm recording this for other people. But the last game was just like a good example of silvers being bad in a deck. My opponent at some point had almost an identical deck to me, just with a bunch of extra spices and also the witch. And it just turns out that those spices didn't really help them at all. Maybe I... Just because they had been... am I supposed to trash the copper? No, I don't think so. I think I'm going to... Playing this horse doesn't really accomplish much. I think the top of my deck is 2 coppers. Yeah, I don't seem to be able to finish the thought, but that's fine. Top of my deck is 2 coppers. It just turns out that I can either have a deck that has an extra horse in it, or I just take the 2 coppers off the top. That's not an obvious decision, but I'm going to leave the horse in the deck, I think. Oh, and I actually have like a raise on top. Now that I think about it, I should at least. So maybe I trash the extra copper then. But then I wouldn't be gaining the extra raise. I don't think I'm really in that big of a hurry to trash coppers. And having the raise on top should be fine. I think I want this extra herald. Yikes. Yeah, I don't think that it's basically ever great to take the curse, even if literally the alternative is just a raise, such as what happened just then. I don't like the Ironmonger. The thing is, with Ironmonger, you're hoping that you're going to see an action just to be able to play your actions. And if you see an action with Herald, you're going to play it. So that sounds good. Sure, I'll take a horse. Sure, I'll play another horse. Gee whiz. I don't like the way that this is going. Okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to play any extra actions. So I can either trash 2 extra coppers, or I can gain an extra thing. I'm definitely going to take like at least 1 bridge and 1 herald, I think. I can trash 2 coppers to get, or I can leave 2 coppers untrashed and gain an extra bridge, or I can trash 2 coppers. I'm not super worried about, I like the trash 2 coppers thing just because it means that I'm going to have more likelihood of gaining and playing. So in that case, do I just like exclusively do heralds? Or do I like do like a herald and a groom maybe? Definitely what we want to eventually do. Then do I like take the curse here? Man, I don't know about that. Because I literally just trash 2 coppers in order to make things work out better for me. But it also means that First of all, I would get 9 victory points from it. It means that I can like very recklessly like play towards piling out and know that it's going to be kind of a while before my opponent gets to a point where they can like comfortably score a bunch of points. I mean, it's really going to be like you're sort of hoping to do a duchy pilot. I sort of feel like the game probably has like a scary pile out on like grooms and heralds and stuff before you get to the point where you play so many. Well, you can play bridge and gain a bunch of duchies with groom, but all these things like carry the threat of piling out with the other cards first. Still, I think I want to do herald. Maybe I just do herald and groom, although bridge means that I end up with 1 extra victory point, but that doesn't really matter. And I think I do want the curse here. Sort of hoping that I would like draw it and be able to trash it here, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Okay, so they are kind of already popping off though, huh? Don't want to download the latest version of Firefox. They definitely have like a lot of ability to gain and play here. Well, maybe they don't. Maybe they can just gain and play like one thing, because I think that they are out of heralds and ironmongers. I think I have the 3 heralds, and yeah, bridge is not something that you can easily gain and play, because, well, okay, no, you presumably are holding a bridge and also another groom. You're going to need like the extra actions to play whatever you take. So I guess you're just going to take also like a herald or an ironmonger or something. I'm assuming that they're also holding like some horses. Hold your horses. Oh. What's interesting that they play that before the groom. Are they like going to gain a duchy here? Okay. The overpaying herald stuff is interesting. That's something that has been enabled by that silver that they have. I don't think that they've ever revealed that silver with a herald. Not that that's really something that you should like judge its effectiveness with. I do feel like my opponent probably has the better deck right now. But I also feel like, I mean, we are like really getting close to a pile out for sure. Okay. So here is one of those times where I get to do whatever I want. There's so many options. Do I just get like one of each of Herald, Groom, and Bridge just to like split the difference or something? Well, I kind of can't do that. It's more like I have to choose one in advance. I think that basically regardless, it's like Groom wants to be, or Bridge wants to be last, because I'm not making use of that cost reduction. I'm basically going to have a maximum of 6, or I'm going to have a maximum of 5 actions here, really. Maybe I completely skip out on the bridges until I absolutely have to. My opponent is going to easily play a lot of bridges this next turn, but I also don't think that they have a whole lot of piling ability. think I do want to take a herald and a groom. And then this hand is just going to figure itself out for me. Okay. So that herald isn't going to end up doing anything. So really all I can hope to accomplish is seed a nice next hand. I mean, I already have a nice next hand if I'm if I have a herald top decked. So I think I'm going to trash this curse. I think I take a groom and then I take my first bridge now. Even if I literally just take 2 grooms, that's like really urgently threatening a pile out. And like I think if I take 2 grooms, I'll be able to pile next turn. The question is, like 2 grooms and a raise. That's like me getting like really laying my hand out face up, and they're not going to be able to get more than they have the 2 grooms and the 3 bridges, which is 6 gains. The really scary thing is like if they spend almost all of that on duchies, then that's like sort of a points lead that's hard for me to come back from. Having a herald top decked is actually really nice. The thing is that I'm not going to be able to like play that many more actions. Like maybe it's not 2 grooms, maybe it's a herald and a groom. Am I going to be able to gain that many things? If I have I'm not going to be able to. Maybe I'm not actually threatening a pile out in real life if I leave 7 cards face up, or if I leave 8 cards to be gained. So maybe I do have to start playing towards bridge stuff. But I have 5 heralds, which means that I can play 6 actions, and 6 actions is 6 gains really, and that's just kind of how it is. I could theoretically get like another one by gaining a herald and stuff. I feel like I need at least 1 bridge one way or another. I don't know. It means that I can start frighteningly gaining duchies. I don't think that my opponent has much pile out ability at all. That bridge feels kind of bad. It's not doing that much. That's like good to see. In fact, the fact that I have 2 coppers in my hand means that all of my heralds are going to be nice. The other thing about the leaving 8 cards is that it means that my opponent can't gain a lot of the cards that they want, which are like grooms and heralds, I guess. I feel sort of good about that curse that I took. It makes me, it's just like, it's been orienting these, interesting. It's been orienting these last several hands, or these last several options in a nice way where I can, just like, that's another good copper reveal. Orienting these last few turns where I can just like sort of think about purely what puts my deck in a good place for the next few turns and not really worrying about piling out and stuff. Or rather, I am worrying about piling out, but only from the perspective of, is it nice that I can do that? Because my opponent can't do that for a long time. It's actually going to be kind of hard for them to even score a lot here because they're not going to be able to play all their bridges. Well, I think they will, but then that's it. Oh, they can only play 2 of their bridges. I think I got a little bit lucky with my heralds these last few turns. I also think that I don't, as much as I considered bridges so many times over the course of my last bunch of turns, but I don't think that I think that having a deck with 3 bridges at this point is just not very good. Because they take a province. In what, like 3 estates? 3 raises? That would be nice. But, I mean, if they take 3 estates, that's just like turbo bad. I mean, it just means that they have a really bad next shuffle, really. So they revealed a bridge with their Ironmonger, but then they drew it. Okay, I see. I kind of thought that they had a bridge on top of their deck right now, but that's not true. Interesting. This is going to get traced. I think I like the Herald first. I think I once again just like to play a Herald. It's kind of funny. Okay. So I'm going to be able to play 5 Grooms if I want. But that's narrowly not enough to pile here. I have 2 buys. I can play each of these 4 Grooms to gain another Groom. Play the last one to gain a raise, but then that's it. I basically have a bridge that like didn't do anything. I can't like gain a bunch of duchies because that just doesn't really help. Or rather, it leaves things also close to a duchy pilot for them. Although, I mean, I'm maybe overestimating the amount of duchies that they can gain. I mean, if they gain like I can like gain 2 bridges and an Ironmonger and then like hope to play. I don't know, that seems silly. So they're still operating on 6 gains. And it's hard for all that many of those to be duchies because they just don't have a lot of money now. They got rid of their silver. Okay, well, they still have a lot of coppers, though. So I'm like definitely playing a Groom to get something. I guess what I'm thinking about is like yeah, this is just like not like maybe I like gain a figurine or something stupid. That doesn't make any sense all in the world. I can like gain a bridge, gain a gold. No. that's foolish. I think I'm feeling like I want at least one Ironmonger. I should gain. I mean, if I gain the second bridge, that bridge isn't going to do anything really. It's just going to mean that it means that my first bridge play didn't get wasted. That's just about it. There's like so many equally good feeling cards here. I feel like I want to get at least some duchying. Should take at least like I have to get my last terminal to play. Man, this is just like a case where I don't have like a lot of good options. I'm pretty sure I want at least one Groom. I think I also want at least one bridge. I don't know. I'm gonna play this Groom. And in that case, I like definitely have like This doesn't feel good, but I just kind of have to eventually make some choices. So I have a Groom that's on top. I think I want the Ironmonger as well. Pretty sure I want one of those. And then I think I take a raise. I take like one raise. They, as I said, they have 6 gains. 6 gains maximum. And that's assuming that they get to play all their action cards, and it just doesn't really seem like they have that much ability to do that. So if those 6 gains are like a Groom and like it would have to be like 3 Grooms or 2 Grooms, 2 raises, and like 2 provinces in order to win. And so I'm like relatively safe in taking 2 raises, even though that feels like I'm lowering an absurd amount and there's basically no reason for me to do it. The other option is like a bunch of duchies, but that they can't take that many duchies, I think. It just sounds hard. How did they gain a province? So they've like $5 in their deck or something. I don't know. I'm gonna take like 1 raise. You know, that's like so stupid. And then I think I'm gonna be done. Okay. There's basically like a ton of different stupid. Okay. A ton of stupid things that I could have done there. Okay, so they get to gain a duchy with this. Ugh. I should say I'm completely unconvinced that my array of buys there was particularly good at all. I had so many different options. I was just kind of getting stressed out a little bit. Or there was just nothing that felt very good at all. And I had like a bunch of excess actions that I didn't use, but using those excess actions would have meant taking extra, like using Groom to gain extra actions, and that just wasn't really appealing either, because I kind of, like, I'm definitely at the point where I need to have some amount of points just in order to theoretically catch up with my opponent if they score a lot somehow. maybe I could have just been like resolute that my opponent can't end the game. And just like sort of lowered while keeping things in my favor slightly. I really don't know. So I'm sort of expecting that I'm going to trash the duchy in this hand. Specifically, if my opponent doesn't get a formidable points lead, then I'm probably going to end up doing that, just to slightly increase the chance that my turn works out. The other option would be trashing the raise. That's not an easy choice. This kingdom is also like a little bit easier if you get to choose exactly what order you're playing your darned cards in. Yikes. Okay. So they will be able to do some of the groom stuff that I was worried about. I mean, they're actually going to be able to win, I think. Right? If they gain a groom here with their other groom, they'll be able to gain 3 duchies with that total. Or 2 duchies, I think. Maybe not. So they currently have 3 grooms in their deck. One of them they just played. So they're hoping to play their third one. Yeah, they're going to be able to win because they have 2 extra coppers, or 3 extra coppers, and then they'll get $3 from the bridges. Okay, so as I was worried about, I did like exactly the wrong thing that made them be able to end the game. So I think we're at 2.5 to 2.5. Damn. Okay. So it all comes down to this last game. And it's going to be their start. It's like exactly what you don't want, is where you get like a really difficult finishing buys. Okay, so they're okay. I don't even know if I turned spec chat off. I hope that wasn't a problem. I think that a lot of the difficulty in that game was just that I had the 5-2 opening of death. It's hard to say that was even that bad. I already don't really like the look of this. Well, Inventor seems kind of bad, unfortunately. Is this just like Cage Silver or something? Cage Inventor has to be better than that, though. So this is a game. Actually, Pendant looks kind of nice because you're always going to have the Cage in play. Actually, Pendant looks really good in this. But this is like a board. So the goal here is going to be to spend a bunch of, like, you're just going to gain as many groundskeepers as you can, basically. Do a couple other things to trash all of your cards. Have turns where you're duration barging every turn. Get a bunch of loots, and then leverage the loots into a bunch of pendant money. Pendant is going to be worth like a lot. problem is that I suspect that my opponent is also going to be able to see that, and it feels like being first player is nice here. Sort of wondering if they have like a 5-2, although 4-3 is also just like a difficult opening. I'm also going to have to get up 1 second. Okay. I think I want remodel and cage, actually. The goal here is just going to be to, like, neither of those are going to be what my primary action is in the long term. Sort of like Inventor can just gain a silver, Remodel can turn an estate into a silver, or copper into another cage. Silver is just a silver, and that's maybe what you're supposed to do anyway. I think I like Remodel. There's basically nothing interesting about Remodel after you're done trashing. I feel like Remodel. I'm going to gain a cage and then do BRB. BRB. Ugh. Awesome. This hand is actually not so bad, though, because really I just need to be able to gain silvers at some point, and this hand will let me do it. Okay, well, this is, like, bad as hell, though. Oh, man. We'll get to see this turn exactly how many estates they got to set aside. It was just 2, or just the 1, it looks like. So that's kind of nice. I don't really want a third cage, or a second. I don't want a third cage, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not so bad, though, because if I see my estates, then I will just turn them into better stuff. Okay. Yeah, this all turns out to not be so bad. I slightly agree with the upgrade for them. Just because they don't have another way of getting rid of their final cards. I'm probably not going to gain any upgrades. Although it's sort of nice that I can turn my remodel into something that I want, such as a pendant, really. Yeah, I probably am going to get an upgrade. I don't know about the second upgrade, though. Maybe I actually take another remodel here, knowing that I don't really need another silver that much. The whole point is just... no, it doesn't matter at all. Okay. I think it should just be silver. This is an awkward hand. I think this is where I just gain an upgrade. Slightly didn't occur to me that I was just going to draw my whole hand instantly. I'm feeling kind of good so far, actually. It's funny, it's like the first time I gain a victory card, I'm just going to instantly get like 6 coppers into my hand, which is nice. My reason for taking an inventor there is that gives me more stuff to do. Well, it lets me buy a card that costs 5 while also gaining another thing to upgrade. So I'm going to upgrade this remodel. Not obvious what I'm remodeling into. I think it's just going to be a pendant. Because that lets me gain looting. Or that lets me buy looting. Nothing lets me gain looting. Lets me gain loot. The other idea is another upgrade. I'm going to buy some like permutation of barge, upgrade, and pendant. I think I want it to be a pendant and a barge. I think this is yet another inventor. Not going to be able to play all of my cards. If I luck into not drawing the inventor here, that's going to be really nice. This is like a great hand. Feeling very good about how this is going. Because I'm gonna, just because my deck is so small, it's going to be very clear how to. Oh, doubloons is definitely awkward. Upgrade is also nice with loots. Because they go right into province. I think that gaining provinces isn't going to be like the key part of this game. Alright, a little unlucky, that's fine. I think I'm just gonna aim to duration barge this. And then buy a pendant. This might be the last pendant that I buy though. They're not like such an urgent card. Maybe it would have been nice to have that second upgrade, but I'm already sort of at the point where I can't compute how it would have made these shuffles go. Maybe I turn this inventor into another upgrade, or into another pendant, but then I'm going to do other stuff. I think. Figurehead is really nice. So I'm going to have an awkward $10 here. Actually, that's not so bad though. means that I can upgrade one more thing. Or I can gain one more thing to upgrade, I guess. This, I think, is going to be yet another pendant, but that's not obvious. Gonna want to start getting groundskeepers very soon. Hammer is like, hammer's funny. Hammer's fine. I mean, that's just going to be the thing that I use to keep gaining inventors to upgrade. So actually, that kind of worked out. Although I am going to... Well, I'm also going to need to sprinkle in forums at some point, basically. Maybe even this turn, because I'm not going to have... The other thing is that, like... If I play the inventor... No, I'm not going to play an inventor. That's silliness. If I didn't have this hammer... Actually, maybe this hammer means that I want another upgrade, honestly, because these silvers kind of suck. And I definitely don't need two of them at all. Both of us haven't gotten any stuff from... haven't gotten any plus buys from looting yet, and those plus buys are going to be very important, of course. I think I do want the second upgrade. Sort of. I don't know. Amphora is nice. I mean, it really could come down to who gets the... Oh, yeah, you do need another barge, that's for sure. How much money am I going to get? I'm going to get, like, a lot of money, man. The pendants are worth 4. Silvers are, of course, worth a total of 4. So I have $19. If I get like a prize goat, then there's no point in having that second upgrade. And prize goat is increasingly likely, I suppose. If I gain the forum here, then I can just loot 3 times. The other thing is that, like, just having extra loot spares you from having to... like, having a bunch of loot and also forum spares you from having to think too hard about what the extra stuff in your deck is. Now is where I think about if I want something other than Inventor now. I think it's like, I mean, gaining Inventor versus Remodel doesn't really matter, but I think Remodel is now back at the point of being slightly more useful in my deck, if I get stuck with it. Orb is great. Doubloons is kind of awkward. I mean, Orb means that I can play with another barge. I mean, of course, Sextant isn't very good. those are three cards that didn't help me that much, actually. Doubloons is kind of the worst one. Both of us got it. Orb. Orb is interesting, but it's hard to play with that. Well, you can pretty reliably put stuff in your discard pile with Forum. Actually, okay, I'm going to count on trying to use Orb to play Barge. And maybe what I'm going to do is remodel a silver into a barge. Or, I don't know, remodel silver into something and then... Yeah, this is all the same. If I get my orb and I also get my Forum, I'm going to be able to do something this turn. We'll have to see exactly what it is. Oh. Yeah, that's no good. Okay. Okay. Do I just like trash this gold into nothing? Because that doesn't feel very ridiculous, honestly. The other option is trashing a silver into a remodel, which is probably nicer. I don't mind that trash the gold into nothing plan, though, honestly. No, that's silly. Continue to think that remodel is good. This is going to be durationed. Once again, have just like FU money, so to speak. I mean, if they're just aiming at provinces, I'm not super worried. The other thing is I can get a ton of forums. So it's not going to be hard to gain an extra barge. I'm definitely going to play with 3 barges. The question is, am I going to count on upgrading into one? That sounds silly. And I definitely want like more forums. But this doesn't leave me with a great amount of money. Do I just take like 2 more lootingses? Do I take like a forum and an upgrade and like another useless $4 card of which I'm going to have 600 million of? That doesn't sound like a good idea, but I didn't exactly frame it very charmingly. I'm going to assume that I don't need any more loots. I mean, there's such a high chance of getting like some sort of nice card now, but also like equal odds of getting something that sucks. Like Figurehead, or what's not Figurehead, Insignia. I really don't want a province. I don't want that at all. It might just be like 2 forums, and that's it. Yeah. That's gonna hurt. Maybe it's like a forum into looting. I'm going to have a go at one more looting, and maybe I actually just take a cage. No, that seems stupid. I'm not going to have time for caging. I can't be cagey. One more loot, see what I get. Jewels is pretty much fine. How do you have 12 cards? I kind of don't understand what happened there. Oh, because of cage, duh. I'm feeling good about this game, though. I mean, I could easily still lose. I mean, they're going to upgrade into provinces now. And I don't have, like, they can do that pretty fast. And I'm kind of building for a long game, really, which is maybe a mistake. Maybe that looting was stupid and I really just need to get groundskeepers. I'm not going to be able to get groundskeepers that fast. I mean, that's for sure. But if you upgrade your loots, they're actually going to kind of run out of ways to get provinces. They only have like a handful of them. Alright, I don't feel good about this game anymore. I actually feel very bad about this game. Ah. That early province felt like it was a stinker, but they're gonna, I mean, it's not gonna be hard for them to gain 8 provinces. And, I mean, the alternative for me is gaining a bunch of duchies in a very grueling and slow pace. And I'm gonna, like, my explicit plan here is to, like, take a turn off to gain, or to play an extra duration barge. I don't have any time to gain something that's not an extra groundskeeper, basically. Oh, shite. Yeah. Okay. Feels like I'm losing the set. They have little duration draw here, and also a ton of junk. But really, I mean, I'm banking on them not being able to gain 3 provinces in one turn, and then, like, an extremely outside shot that they won't be able to gain any provinces in, or they won't be able to gain however many provinces in however many turns. Oh, I need an extra barge. Okay, so what am I doing? That one is going to get warped. Doubloon sucks. I don't want any of these things. I don't have time for another form. I'm also going to draw like a buttload of cards here. Maybe I'm like supposed to just gain like a victory card to just get the extra 6 coppers for this hand, but that seems silly. With the help of the groundskeepers, I'm going to be able to get a lot of points here, though. It would be kind of shocking if they... Oh, I like the look of that. If they can get 3 provinces in this turn. Suddenly feeling good about this game again. They scared me with the one turn that they gained 4 provinces, but they did that by not doing anything else and getting rid of basically all the good cards in their deck. If they double province done this turn, I would be scared, but I don't think that that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's not obvious that I'm going to be able to get like all that many points. Oh wow, yeah, I would have played that. Okay. So let's see. Barge doesn't do anything this turn. Silver doesn't really do a lot. I have all my groundskeepers in play. So if I do this, one province, I mean, each province is worth 11 points. And I have a lot of ways to gain a buttload of estates. So I think I'm good. Let's trash that doubloons that I hated getting, of course. Let's see all my other cards again. Let's have another round of seeing my cards. Let's turn a gold into another province. Let's gain an estate. Whoops. Let's gain 6 duchies. Okay. I think that's 3.5, 2.5. Oof. I'm not 100% sure that I enjoyed these games more than the last ones. I mean, they were just very scary. The last ones are also very scary, very difficult. Ultimately, I liked having the chance to do that big, annoying shepherd stuff. Yes. Although I only play in the league lately. See ya. Okay, I'll plan to report the results, but I don't have a whole lot to say left. Yeah, this is a game that's you just don't like to play without groundskeepers if you can gain a bunch of them. I'm interested. I'm probably going to go back and see if like when they would have been able to end the game, but there's surely draws. They definitely could have had remodel hit a province, and that would have helped a lot. They were able to buy a province. There's definitely like a world where I kind of didn't get to draw so much in my last turn, or something just didn't work out, and I needed an extra turn. I felt so clunky about doing that barge thing once it seemed like the game was almost over. Like once I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to get an extra turn after I orbed the barge. That's fun to say. And once, when you discard a card and you spend a game doing nothing, it just doesn't feel very good. It would have probably felt nicer if I had instead just like spent all of my extra effort getting groundskeepers on that last turn, and even like gained an extra victory card, literally just for the purpose of getting the coppers into my hand, because those are good for purchasing things. Although it would have meant that I had fewer buys to work with. It's really hard to say exactly what should have happened on that last turn. But I could have pretty easily gained 3 provinces at some point and done a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. These are all hard games. And that I'm going to get haunted by that turn where I like spent 5 minutes or more thinking about what exactly set of buys to do in order to sort of have a nice victory lead and also not worry about piling out. Maybe what I was supposed to do is not bother with lowering or gaining duchies at all, because the duchies didn't end up helping me that much. Although, if my opponent got a bunch of duchies, it would have been hard to like proceed from there in terms of just like earning the victory points to come back, I think. I mean, if I had 0 duchies and just the 8 points from, I don't know, I would have, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. Okay. I think I shouldn't have gotten any duchies that turn, because they can't gain extra action cards reliably. Game 6 Lord, that's funny. Okay. I'm going to be done. Thank you to the 2 people who seem to have been listening to this last spiel for me. All right. Signing off.